Welcome to this episode of the Angel Rated Show. My name's Angela Bryant, and with me today I have Priscilla Stephan. So Priscilla is an intuitive business strategist and creator of the Soulfluent Leadership Archetypes. She excels at helping people identify their zones of genius, step into powerful leadership, and live their purpose profitably. So,
Correct. I
sounds
tried.
welcome, Priscilla.
Hello. Thank you.
Do you want to just start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your online business?
Yes, I have been in business for 10 years as a coach. This is my second business iteration. The first one was a learning experience versus a failure with a business importing fashion accessories and jewelry from Brazil, which is where I'm from. And that was 3 years my first attempt at business. And then I was an emotional eater for 30 years. Who doesn't like to eat a few extra cupcakes or a whole cheesecake, right, when you're feeling down? And so I went to health coaching school to work on my own eating issues and came out with a coaching certificate and started coaching people on that, which turned out to really be about helping people find joy in their work more than why they were, because the food is always a symptom of a deeper rooted problem issue. And then I came upon the Akashic Records, which is a way for you to connect to your soul and your soul guides. And that had been the missing piece that I'd been waiting for. And then I realized that I had a specific talent when I connected to people's guides to help them grow their business, live their purpose through their business in a very aligned way. And then I switched out of health coaching about 4 or 5 years ago to doing intuitive business. And then a couple of years into that, realized I had an ability to download very dense content from the ether, let's put it that way, which became the Soulfluent Leadership Archetypes body of work, helping people be really good leaders, leading from their souls. So that's a short wrap up of 10 years. Plus, I got fired twice before I started this. Plus, I was in the environmental field for a decade. Yeah.
Fascinating background, lots of different things going on there. So, for those who don't know anything about Akashic Records, tell us a bit more about what they are and what that means.
Yeah, so I came upon this by accident, and I worked with who became my teacher on a program for 5 weeks called Heal Your Body Stories. You can do a lot of really deep soul healing in the Akashic Records, and I was like, oh my God, this is such a potent space of healing. And then she taught how to connect. So the Akashic Records I describe as this Harry Potter kind of beautiful library in the ether of everything, of this database about your soul, of everything that your soul has experienced through every lifetime. And it is a space of deep love and truth. And it is a space where you can connect to your soul guides. They're called the record keepers, the keepers of your soul's records. And you can ask them for guidance and clarity on anything you want on any area of your life for healing. It is not predictive. It is a space of empowerment so that you can show up, ask really potent questions, and they will give you the guidance that you want, not always what you want to hear, but what you need or will support you. And you can ask questions about anything: health, business, life, relationships, healing, heal hooks, past life stuff. I mean, it's amazing what you can do. And while we all have different abilities in the records, I find that most people tend to either have a broad spectrum. I'm very focused on business. I don't do relationships. I don't do health. I'm definitely not a medical intuitive. I can tell you if there's something going on. I can't really diagnose. But I have an uncanny ability for business to really channel the direction of the business moving forward, and kind of how to help someone really truly live in a fulfilled way through their business. And I'm passionate about business. I think God, isn't it fascinating what we can create out of nothing? And so I've never taught the Akashic Records in all these 6, 7 years that I've used them, to read for other people and for myself. But guess what? Last week, my guides, I called them the sneaky fuckers. They were like, oh, I think it's time for you to go teach the Akashic Records now. So 5 years ago, I downloaded my own methodology to teach the records, including how to read the Akashic Records of people's businesses, because everything that has consciousness has an Akashic Record. So a country, a hurricane, a home, your relationship, your children, everything has an Akashic Record, like a library of content or guides to help them. And so in addition to the Soulfluent Leadership Archetypes and the book coming out this summer, US summer, is now I'm going to start putting together a training to help entrepreneurs and people that feel called to the records. I feel like it's a calling, a pull to connect with their own guides, and if they choose, then to learn to read the records of other people and help them with their purpose. So does that help at all?
It does. It does. You're clearly so passionate about it, and it's yeah. I was going to come on and ask a bit more about the why behind your business, but I think you've taken us there already.
Yeah, I guess here's what I think, maybe because I went through 3 really big career changes that were so painful, is that I believe that everyone has magical, talented, beautiful gifts that when applied in the best possible way, it will change the world. And I feel like we all deserve to feel fulfilled in our work and to have a sense of purpose. And there's my son, the logo is this, my logo is the sun, because the sun is about purpose and living that sense of North Star and direction. So I'm here to really help people live their purpose through their business, and to do it by, like you said, really leading with their greatest talents and what they do so naturally that sometimes they forget that they can get to be paid really well for. So
Yeah, that's fantastic. So where do you want to, what's your vision for your business moving forwards? Where do you want to see it going?
It's a split. Because there's a part of me that wants to live a simple life. My husband and I dream of maybe going to Wales or going up to England someplace and finding a nice little cottage and just living a simple, beautiful life in nature, and just very grounded, simple. And my clients want a simple life, even though they're high achievers like I am. On the other hand, I was given a body of work, and now the Akashic Record piece too, that honestly, I think has the potential to truly make millions of dollars, right? And then I'm like, that sounds fun, but a simple life really sounds great too. And so I guess I'm just taking it a day at a time, because this work has so many arms to it, like certification programs and this and that I have learned to hold the container possibility for the greater vision, and to stay in the now, which is to finish the Soulfluent Leadership Business Guide, which is to continue to be an apprentice of the work, to become a better person, and to see where it goes. But the vision is that we become better leaders, that we truly lead from a place of deep integrity and alignment, and that we just be happy. Someone asked yesterday in a training I was in, like, what would be the first thing you would tell someone? And the first thing that came to mind was, life is short, live your dreams. And I think, to me, my tagline used to be live the dream. And I think I'm very passionate about people living their dreams, because I think our dreams hold that beautiful essence of soul and purity that will make the world a better place and make us happy.
I love the sound of, being happy, simple life, but also being your authentic self and sort of moving in that direction all the time, because that's all we should be doing, really. So is there something you want to be known for, or a legacy you want to create out the back of this?
I've struggled with that one too. I mean, if these bodies of work continue to shine between the Akashic Records and also the Soulfluent Leadership Archetypes, the legacy is that all of this is designed to help you understand yourself intimately, and to know that you are a whole, perfect being, and that you don't have to try so hard. And whether you do that through your work, through your business, through anything, is that I think that I said this to someone else in an interview yesterday, that you said, what happens when you're at peace? I said, you stop striving. You're fully present and living in technicolor in the moment. And I think for me, if I could do anything, is for someone to feel so whole and at peace with themselves that they don't feel the need to prove or strive anything. They can if they want to, but it would come from that higher perspective versus I got to prove, which is so much of what I did so long and that caused a lot of burnout and suffering.
Yes, I hear you on that, definitely. So what about the sort of values of your business? What are the sort of principles your business runs on?
Integrity. And I'm reading, here's a great book. It just came out by Martha Beck. It's called The Way of Integrity. I'm just reading that because she talks exactly about that polarity, that push-pull of really following, what does it mean to follow your true nature versus conditioning of society, what you must do to be successful. I think we all go through that. So my values are integrity, be staying true to yourself, excellence. I love to do good work, and do what I say what I do. But my true values I put on my website are flexibility, generosity, kindness, I would say. I think people sense that from me, that there's a loving, kind nature about me. Generosity for sure. And I'm flexible. We get sick. Sometimes we're tired. Like, I'm not rigid. I don't do rigid at all. It's awful. And so just kind of being fluid. And I think that, and I think mastery is something I love, and high quality I love as well. I've noticed that the things that I truly love in the world, I don't care for, the Chanels or the brand names per se. I love artisanship or artistry, where you can see, those carpenters or the jewelry people, or there's such a technique to it. There's such love and devotion and dedication to what they do, creating beautiful things. And that to me is just beautiful. Oops, my doggy came to say hi. This is Lily. She wanted to say she needed mommy attention. Oops, sorry. So yeah, I would say that those are some of the qualities, and then fun and adventure too. I love to travel, and I love beauty. I love beautiful things. Everything in my business is, well, pretty. It matches to me. I don't want it to be cheesy or ugly. And my new homepage is just going to be up this week, and it's pretty, sparkly. Gold. I like things that sparkle. Lots and lots of sparkle and magic.
I love that. Just, aligning it with who you are and what you love makes so much sense. So what about, does your business help sort of give back in any way? Do you support any charities? Do you have any scholarships? Is there anything that you sort of do to help address some of the awful issues that are going on in the world?
I haven't much, and that's where I really try to be honest with myself. I have given occasionally to charities, like St. Jude's for pediatric children with cancer and stuff like that. But I actually just realized this yesterday. There are two things that I do that are natural extensions of me in business that I do when it feels aligned. Is I'm an incredible connector. My connections make people, because I see that connections are a way of me helping people live their purpose. Like sometimes if you just make that one, that person can just change everything. It can be a new partnership. My web person and my graphic designer are now massive business partners. I introduce them, colleagues and my clients, they get the benefit of that. And so that's a natural extension that I do regardless. And the second one is, I've learned and I'm a mystic leadership, Soulfluent mystic archetype, which means that just embrace that I hold space for people and I'm a catalyst. People, when they come into my space, they heal, they get insight, they also have ideas, and I'm a good sounding board for getting them to be honest and real with themselves. And so just even this month alone, as part of a kind of a group I belong to, I've been interviewed maybe 5 times by colleagues that like I'm either their ideal client or they really would like, and I was like, no, I can help you with something. And so my generosity is just holding space for someone, and it brings me joy. I don't expect anything from it. And it's a way for me to kind of give back in a way. now with time, and eventually there might be money too. So it's simple. It's something I do naturally anyway. And again, I see it as a way of furthering someone, because if I can provide insight that will move them ahead, I am still fulfilling on the purpose of helping them live their purpose.
And it plays to your strengths as well. So, I mean, that's the ideal scenario, isn't it? That you're using your talents and your skills to...
And the values, right? So generosity and the strengths, which is holding space and being a catalyst.
All coming together into one place. Yeah. So is there anything different in your sort of more personal values that don't play out in your work values? Anything more from you as a person about your worldview or how you see things?
I think for me, I guess the two words that come to mind, compassion is one. I think that, and empathy. I think that this can certainly go through work. I think that we're just too hard on ourselves and too judgmental. I can be very harsh and just judging sometimes people. And I think that the world will go, with discernment, of course, will go so much farther if we can just have a little extra dose of compassion. I think especially coming out of a pandemic and all the suffering we have seen and experienced, even if we feel extremely blessed, like we have been very fortunate, I think compassion and empathy can go a long way. That creates connection. And I think, to me, I think one of the greatest things we can do for any human being is to witness them, to really hold space and see them and allow them to be seen and heard. And I didn't really fully understand the power of witnessing until I got married 3 years ago, and just having 70 friends and family come together here in San Diego and bear witness to our love and bear witness and celebrate with us. It really truly was a rite of passage, and it anchored the experience, because not only because it was witnessed, because it was shared with a group of people. And it wasn't just something for us, because we had contemplated just the two of us someplace. But I was like, no, it needs to be witnessed. And so I think in our transformational work, or as friends and colleagues, just holding that space for someone to be witnessed in their pain without trying to fix it, or witnessed in their celebration, I think can be the deeply humanizing and empowering experience.
Sounds wonderful.
Good.
and so lovely that you obviously had the opportunity to do that, because I know that obviously so many people over the past year haven't been able to have the weddings that they want.
To me. I know that might sound odd, but I was like, when I started to think about the brides, I was heartbroken.
Yeah, massive changes to people's plans, and travel and funerals and everything. Just really everything hit by what's been going on. So tell me about what causes, sort of thinking sort of bigger picture world causes, that you feel most strongly about. I know you said that you sort of environmental policy background. Is that?
I do. Well, that's my husband is, both my husband and I, we both have graduate degrees in environmental policy. For me, environmental policy, he is in environmental science. My husband is very passionate about climate science and, the end of the world and how important it is to do something now, which I don't disagree. I am very passionate about women's education and empowerment, and really giving the space for women to be acknowledged and celebrated and seen for the incredible gifts that they have. I think we all as humans can suffer with self-doubt. I think women in particular can also be plagued by that, whether it's cultural, religious, traumatic experiences. I have been, especially as a mystic, self-doubt is my kryptonite. It's very tough. And so having a space to encourage, motivate, mentor women and celebrate them and cheer them on and give them the resources. And I also am passionate about entrepreneurship and giving women the resources and the tools, especially if in my case, I don't give money, but that women have the space to really be given a chance, because businesses can really make a huge difference in the world, especially Soulfluent businesses that are here to create what I call the 360 win, where you win as the owner, the company, the team, the clients, and the planet, right? Your choices have positive ripple effects. It's, the kind of whole concept of conscious business, right? Business that does good, supports the greater good. So I think those are those are a few. And I also believe in people traveling. I think it's so important when we get to do that again, to get out of your bubble and to explore the world and cultures and way of seeing things that are very different from you, that you can both learn compassion and acceptance, but also realize the humanity of all of us that transcends time, space, boundaries, and all of it.
You're really talking my language, having done lots of 6 months traveling in the last 4 years.
Oh,
It's so
wonderful.
eye-opening, and yeah, that idea of making conscious choices about the impact you have is absolutely what I'm all about, and it really rings true. So that's lovely. So you mentioned your husband just then a bit earlier, and they're talking about your wedding as well. So tell us something about how you met.
Yeah, so I moved to San Diego from New York City. I was escaping one more horrible winter. And so I was here kind of just trying out San Diego. And I saw a Facebook post about a dirty dancing workshop for men and women, for singles. And I was here by myself, totally peeing in my pants, so scared because I was afraid of men, you know. I was already, what, at that point, 40, 41, I think I was. No spring chicken. And so I went. And all I told myself, I got the Uber, right? Because I didn't have a car here at the time. Just go. If I get really scared, if it's awful, I'll just leave, right? That's my out. Got that, literally practically peeing in my pants. I was so scared. I'm like, I don't know anyone. What are they going to do to us? And it was kind of like conscious relating. So we had exercises, couples exercises, rotating, like group exercises. We went around a circle. And I think I blurted out, I'm terrified of men and I'm terrified of being here. I think I just needed to say it. And then we just did partner dancing. It wasn't some raunchy kind of thing, but it was all about relating and connecting through dance. And so there's a lot of rotating. There was 18 men and 18 women. And I think about 2/3 into the evening, it was in this apartment that had this gorgeous view of the ocean. And then I met my husband came around. He was in a black shirt and I think his glasses. And I thought he was an accountant or something, you know, because there was music I couldn't hear very well. And I was just trying to not look stupid because I'm not a good dancer, even though I'm Brazilian. I should supposedly, you know how to shake my bum, but I don't. But anyway, and it was truly electric. The moment we danced, we both felt this thunderbolt. And then a second song came and I didn't want to let him go. And then we both felt this kind of shockwave again. And then another song came and we were, I guess, was supposed to switch partners. And I said, no, I don't think we need to switch partners anymore. And then we stayed together and just, you know, watched the moonlight and all of that. And then he texted me that night and we started chatting. And then we went on our first date, that weekend. And that was it, really. Yeah.
It's amazing. I don't know when you said that a dirty dancing night, I didn't quite know whether I was thinking the film or whether I was thinking about erotic dance or something in between or a bit of everything.
It was a movie kind of thing. It wasn't raunchy or anything like that, but it was and it was just magical. It was just so meant to be, and we had been single for a very long time. My husband's about 13 years older than I. And so, we became pretty inseparable. We moved in together 3 months after that. We got engaged about 2 years after that, married like 2 or 3 years. 3 years after. Yeah, we've known each other now for 6 years in June, and married 3.
Fantastic. Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. Congratulations. I love a good story. So, anything else about you as a person, anything else that makes you tick that you want to share with us?
Yeah, I'm passionate about just encouraging people to live their dreams. I think it matters. I think dreams kind of fire me, you put a fire under me, ignite this passion, because I think it causes so much misalignments in work cause dis-ease, right? Physical, emotional, psychological, mental. And I sit with my husband, he really wants to be doing climate science work, and he's a software engineer. And he told me yesterday, he actually said, it's like, what's worse, a lonely life or an angry life? Because he was very lonely before he met me. And now he's kind of angry because he's not doing what he wants to do. And that's on him to figure out. But it's hard to see him this unhappy in a way, because he has a great team and a great job, but it's not the work that fires his soul, ignites his passions. And it's just so sad to see that, a sad soul. So I want more happy souls doing things they love, really firing up their engines. And it's funny that that's really what's happening under my own roof, But I think that's it. And we now have a little multi-poo and cats. So I've become really passionate about rescues and animals. We don't want to have children, so these are our fur babies. And we love hosting, and we love bringing people together. What did Alex said, that we're like the, not the foster home, but we're like the place, like the dumping ground for people, like in between, in transition. We'd love to be a safe haven for people. We're good to our friends. We would love to have people come to our home. We've had people gone through relationships and stay with us. So I think just we're a place for people to know that we can kind of be that little nest before they can go fly off again. And I love family and people, and people genuinely fascinate me. They both terrify me because I think I have a bit of social anxiety, but I'm fascinated by people. I've always wanted to know, why do people do what they do? Yeah.
It's so clear that your passion for people finding their purpose and living their purpose, it just shines through, and your energy is just so positive and uplifting. I can see that you providing a real safe haven for people in your home, and a lovely spot to come and rest and recuperate, and then, as you say, fly off into the next chapter. So that's really lovely. So before we wrap up, do you want to tell listeners a bit more about where they can find you, your business, your services?
Yes. Absolutely. So I primarily, so my website is priscillastephan.com. I do have the Soulfluent Leadership Archetype quiz, which is a 3-minute free quiz where you can identify which of the 5 Soulfluent archetypes you are. There's the mystic, the visionary, the strategist, the explorer, and the divine feminine. I am a true mystic, and how your archetype informs every key aspect of your business. Are you leading with your gifts, your branding, your messaging, your business model, your offers, your pricing, and so on and so on. And the Soulfluent Leadership Business Guide is coming out, which will show you exactly how to identify your archetype and how to integrate it into your business through and through, and in how you show up and lead. And I primarily work with women who are service-based, experienced, established, and who tend to be at that place where they have a lucky, fortunate problem. They have more clients than they know what to do with, or they've outgrown their business model, and they're trying to figure out, how can I work smarter or less, not compromise or give up what I've created so far, and especially my income. And so usually the right clients for me are spiritual, and they want both business and soul, and they want to work less. So usually they work 20% less, make 20% more, and they create a simpler, happier life. That really is congruent with their season of life, and also their cycle of business, because growing more and bigger isn't always better. Sometimes less is better.
Sounds amazing. So we will make sure we've added all the links to the show notes, to your quiz, to your website, and it's the book, the other item that you mentioned. When that comes out.
Yeah, so priscillastephan.com has everything, and priscillastephan.com/quiz is where, if you want, that's the exact to go to the quiz. And the book will be out in a few months, over the summer, July or August of 2021. And that's the Soulfluent Leadership Archetype Business Guide, how to amplify your message, visibility, and profits by leveraging your archetype, I believe is the title. I botched it a little bit.
No, that's great. We'll make sure we add that information about that as well once it's available. So thank you ever so much for joining us. It's just been so lovely to have you and to learn more about what you're working on and who you are and who the person is behind the business. So
I am so honored, and I'm sending, even though it's a kind of gray day here in San Diego, California, lots of sunshine from the Southern California coast.
thank you. I think we need it in the UK at the moment with our sleet and hail and who knows what else we've been getting today. So yeah, in between sunshine, I don't know what's going on. So anyway, so to wrap up, if you want to read the show notes from this episode, you can go to angelrated.com/podcast. And if you enjoyed this episode, obviously I'd love you to subscribe to the show and leave a review on your favourite podcast platform. And don't forget to share this episode with your online business friends.